Hey guys, this is Leighton with Quality Pro Reviews, and in this video I'm going to be doing a really quick review of this plugin that's come out by Softube just a couple of days ago. It's called Tape, and this is a tape saturation plugin. This thing is fantastic. I've been using it for about a day, so I just want to show you the controls and basically how this thing works and how it sounds. So what I'm going to do, I have a default session opened up in Reason 9.5, and of course Reason 9.5 supports VSTs. If you haven't seen my video about that yet, click the annotation and yeah, check that out. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is open up this master section, and I'm going to show insert effects, and it's going to have the default stuff in there: EQ, stereo imager, maximizer, compressor, all that stuff. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to right click on a device and I'm going to reset. So that's all going to go away. And in here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to effects. I'm going to scroll down. Obviously, I'm still testing Reason 9.5, hence why I haven't given a review on it yet, but it'll be coming out shortly. Look out for it. So right under Softube here, I have this plugin called Tape. I'm just going to drag that in. So now it'll be a master insert. And at the same time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to import some audio. And it's this track I made the other day. It's called VSTs, a little pun right there. So this is just a quick little jam I made in Reason using a bunch of VSTs like Oddity 2, Serum, Keyscape, like a ton of things, just in Reason. If you guys want a download of this file, hit that like button. If I get 60 likes, I'll make it available for download. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to import. So import that. Perfect. So what I'm going to do now, just because I am also recording my vocals, I'm going to turn off monitoring. So that should sound a bit better. I'm going to go back to here. So first things first, I'm just going to open up the plugin so you can take a look at it. This thing is beautiful. And I'm quickly just going to take a screenshot. And then I'll close that. That looks so much better. So as you can see, it has that, you know, reel-to-reel tape deck kind of feel. Kind of reminiscent of a Studer, if you're familiar with using a Studer. Any reel-to-reel, it has that look. And here, I don't know if this is on purpose, but they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 channel. So really classic vibe. So I'm guessing it's going to be 2-track as the ones of olden days. And you know, nice little VU meter here. They have an amount control, so you can dial in that amount of tape effect that you want. And there are 3 types, and there's also a tape speed knob, so you can dial in, you know, the usual increments, and then you can even get a bit granular with 1% or 3%. 15% is kind of the recommended. It's listed here. I guess that's the studio sound. I always think, you know, experiment, try what works. It's whatever sounds good. Go for that. And yeah, that's basically it on the surface level. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to dial the amount into about 8. And I'm going to go to type B because I prefer type B out of all of these. And then I'm just going to play it. And then you can listen to it, and then we'll go a little bit deeper. So as you can see, as the track is playing, you get that nice little tape animation, reel spinning, and I'm surprised by the amount of CPU usage. This doesn't use that much at all, surprisingly. The animation is really crisp, smooth. Of course, you have your level meters. Everything seems to work really well. So as I said, there's much more that we can do below the surface to this plugin. So I'm going to show you really quickly. So I'm just going to stop. And on the right hand side here, there's this remote control sidebar, I guess you'd call it. So if you click on that, you get a little fly out menu. And then you see there are more things that we can tweak with. So you can tweak with the dry and wet signals, you know, how much tape you want versus, you know, the dry signal. And my favorite, speed stability. So as you know, depending on the age and how well maintained your tape unit is, you know, you might get what's called a little bit of wobble. And it just adds to the authenticity of the tape sound. Obviously, for production reasons, you might not want too much of that effect because then it just sounds really weird, or it makes it sound like the tape is damaged. But I always feel just a little bit of this adds some realism to what you're doing. So I'm just going to go to the extreme just so you can hear what it sounds like. And then I'll dial it back. So I'll dial it back just a little bit. So it's still there, but you know, it's a little bit more subtle. I'm still gonna dial it back a little bit. I'm gonna put it where I would normally put it, just to be subtle. So that's really cool. You also have the high frequency trim. So again, another I don't want to say downside, but another consequence of using tape is that depending on how dull the heads are, the unit as well, sometimes when you're playing back what you've recorded to tape, you'll notice that for some reason the high frequencies get a little bit dulled, you know. So again, you can boost or cut. So I'm just gonna cut the high frequencies just so you can hear it, and it gives it a really vintage, you know, old tape sound. So let's hear it with the high frequency cut. And I'm gonna boost it. I'll cut it again. So there you go. Again, adding to that authenticity of tape. And then the last one to the left of this flyout menu here, you have Crosstalk. So again, because of how these units were made, you know, you have all these metal parts, you get some feedback from whether it be the left sides feeding back into the right, or the rights feeding back into the left, or you're getting some hum, some machine noise. All this stuff adds to the realism. So I'm just gonna boost this to the extreme, and I'll dial it back to where I'd probably put it. So if you notice, there's a bit of buzz, there's a bit of distortion, you know, all that stuff comes through Crosstalk. So again, I'd probably dial it down to somewhere around here, maybe even down a little bit more, but I'll play it right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring back my high frequency trim almost close to flat, but not exactly flat. So let's listen to that again. it's in there. It's really subtle, but I like it. So let's move over to the right side of the flyout menu. So at the top, you have these input and output levels. So again, just some more control in terms of what you want to do. Normally, I just leave these where they are, because depending on where this is in the signal chain of my master, or if I'm using it on an individual track, I'll normally just use the master fader. I won't be messing with that here, but again, it's here, so you can always do as you will with it. And then next to the bottom here, bottom left, you have this noise switch. So again, tape has noise. You have that little hiss, you know, that little crackle. So you can choose to add it in or not. In my opinion, it would have been better to have a knob just to control the amount of noise, as opposed to having a switch, because there's no real control as to, okay, I want 10% noise in, you know, the overall mix, or do I want 20%, do I want 30, or I want 5. You just get a switch to turn it on or off. So if I had any recommendations, I'd probably make this a knob as opposed to a switch, but again, I'll put it in so you can hear it. So this is with it on. Really subtle. So I'll turn it off. Super subtle. And then the last thing to the bottom right, I guess, you have these run or stop buttons. So what this does, this gives you a very authentic tape stop, tape start effect. So if you've heard, you know, hip hop music, you know, modern, I guess, pop music, they'll use that tape stop effect. So I'll just play it and I'll stop it and then I'll start it again so you can hear the effect. I'm gonna stop it and I'm gonna run it. Stop it. And I'll start it. So again, giving that authenticity, that realism. So in a nutshell, in terms of the everyday controls, what you'll probably be messing around with, that's the plugin in a nutshell. To the bottom right, you have this setup button. If you click that, there's not much in here, but there's the show value display, so you actually see the values as you're changing them, little numbers. And there's also this use experimental OpenGL graphics. If you're on a system that can't leverage OpenGL, it doesn't make sense to have it turned on. But again, I'm really happy with how the graphics work and the CPU usage, so I just keep that off and I at least show value display on, unless you're really going for an old school feel and you don't want to see the values as you're tweaking with them. You just want to go by, you know, your ears. You could turn it off, but I tend to keep them on so I can make notes as I'm, you know, whether I'm doing a mix or whatever. So yeah, so in a nutshell, that is the tape plugin by Softube. Really happy with this. Type A and Type C, they sound okay, but in terms of the overall color, I love B. I tend to keep it at either 15 or somewhere around 7%, but I'd say 15% is a safe bet. So yeah, if you guys like this video, hit that like button, and like I said, if you want that track that I played today, if you want a free download of it, if we get to 60 likes, I'll make it a download. Alright guys, so if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.